Thank you very much, Harold. That was beautiful. And we have Zenon Rankin next.
I love you, man. I love you too. Hello, everybody. I'm Zen. I'm Keith's best man. It's an honor and privilege to be Keith's best man, and the whole wedding was pretty much amazing, and, you know, this reception's very much beautiful, and I think we can all agree Steffa looks stunning tonight. It's my first time being a best man, so I'm doing the best job I can here. Bear with me. There are lots of prepared speeches online to choose from, but unfortunately none were made specifically for Keith and Steffa. I just got an 80s band when I Googled them, so I wrote this one myself, so here goes nothing. It's a tough job being the best man, and it has a number of responsibilities that I suppose Keith felt I could handle best. Making sure his face and hair are in order, which I really didn't have to do at all. Making sure we get some video game time in before the ceremony. It goes without saying, and I didn't really have to do anything with that either. It was his suggestion. Not losing the rings during the ceremony. I didn't do that. And not revealing one really bad and embarrassing secret about Keith. Well, 3 to 4 isn't bad. While trying to remember the best stories possible about Keith, I wanted to dazzle it up and not bore you all to death with lame anecdotes. But it's hard when we're talking about Keith. Let's face it, he's kind of a boring nerd. It's hard to make the life of a person sound interesting when you're as reliable, friendly, shy, and quiet as he is. The two of us met at around grade 3, and we simply realized we lived on the same street about 4 houses away. We quickly forged a friendship through competitive spirits. Along with the other neighborhood kids, we terrorized our street with constant Nerf gun wars and games of manhunt and water fights. And to this day, our strongest bond ever has been with video games. Sorry. We spent so much time in front of the Legend of Zelda series, there's no doubt in my mind that we have the strongest thumb muscles in the room. Ladies. It's strange that I find it strange that we're still such close friends after so many years. Our completely different personalities complement each other as if our paths run parallel. I'm a freelance illustrator, and he's working in science. All through grade school and high school, growing up, we relied on each other's differences in one way or another. I would help Keith with the creative side of schoolwork, and he would tutor me in math to help me pass. And he did the best that he could, and to this day, the only thing I can count on is Keith continuing to help me with my math. Even though we're still separated by distance, it's always a short one. We always manage to stay in touch and remain interested in the same topics, such as video games. But I knew something was different about him partway through university when he mentioned that he had a girlfriend, which had nothing to do with video games at all. He was always talking about a real girl and not a digital one. The idea that he had a girlfriend took me completely by surprise. Good old reliable nerdy Keith had a girlfriend? Uh-oh, I thought to myself. How did he do it? Not that I doubted his intelligence or anything. Keith is a smart guy. But he's also capable of selling a broken watch to a complete stranger in a parking lot. Something which he's never been very proud of. And I wondered to myself how I got this girl's attention. My first impression of Steffa was on a New Year's Eve at Keith's house in Whitby. Before meeting her, I had no idea what to expect. But meeting her for the first time, I thought, high score, 1,000,000 points. Bagged a good one, Keith. But, she was perfect for him since she found somebody who was just as soft-spoken, quiet, and shy as himself. A woman likes silent men. They think they're listening. I mentioned video games a lot in this speech because but believe it or not, Keith and Steffa would probably have never met if it weren't for the Anime North convention, which is a geeky convention that has to do with video games and Japanese animation and so forth. And they didn't meet over a computer or anything, believe it or not. We can all thank Keith's computer for being broken for 3 months, or Keith would have never bothered talking to a girl, and we probably wouldn't all be sitting here today. From what I gather, it took 4 hours of non-stop talking on Keith's part to get Steffa's attention. And it was Steffa's phenomenal patience in waiting 3 months for Keith to make the first move. After getting to know her more, I realized just how valuable a catch she really is. She appreciates video games, and she makes amazing desserts. What more does a man need? She's too good to be true. She even threatens Keith's manhood by knowing more about cars than he does. Keith knows how his engine works, but I think Steffa could fix it. Ever since, it has been a huge pleasure to be a part of their lives. I'll never forget I was in school and I was working on an assignment all night, and they called me the next day to tell me they were engaged. From that point onward, I knew they were going to make each other very happy. For the purposes of this speech, I asked Keith what he thought of our friendship, and he mentioned in his typical humble manner that, well, he must be doing something right, because our friendship is going okay. Well, Keith, it's hard to say you're wrong when you're as smart as you are. By the way, don't ever throw a surprise birthday party for this guy, because you'll figure it out twice. All joking aside, it's been an honor and a great privilege to be Keith's best man, and I wish you and Steffa all the best. And before I give Keith the privilege of coming up here and talking, I'd like to offer a toast and a few words of advice. Don't argue with a spouse who fixes your brakes and aligns your suspensions. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, Zen. You're the best, man.